Oh yeah, here we are. It's Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton. It is a beautiful, soothing Sunday afternoon post Rory McIlroy back-to-back wins at the Masters, which is always nice because you gotta whisper when they're watching it.
You don't know how to whisper.
We're on the 18th hole and he's putting for birdie. Actually,
I don't think that you'd be able to go because you don't know how to speak in an indoor voice. Like, your decibel volume is always much louder than most.
What are you talking about?
Oh, sweet Lord.
I know. Anyway, it is Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton. Flynn, don't eat your poo. By the way, do you guys have dogs that eat their poo every once in a while? I don't get it. I don't know what that's all about.
Ew, I think it's in his beard now.
No, it's not.
Oh, and now he's licking the desk. What is wrong with this animal?
I don't know, but it is what we do on a lazy Sunday afternoon here in Manhattan Beach, California. We want to thank the 64 nations that are now listening to us.
I am so proud of us.
I think what we have to do is we have to broadcast from Europe more because we pick up a bunch of other countries, and I got to go through it to figure out which one is missing that I hadn't seen before.
So where are you taking me next?
I know. We're going to do that.
Is that how I can bribe you to take me on another trip?
Oh, you don't have to bribe me. I have to bribe you.
No, but if there's podcast viewers and listeners, and we pick up another. Oh, there's my son. Okay, we gotta pause.
Are we really pausing? And we are back on. Sorry about that. That was our son. Yeah, Dylan Fenton. He was calling in on a Sunday. He was supposed to call in earlier, but I guess he was maybe studying because he's got his math and environmental science finals this week.
On the same day.
They're on the same day. That's
that blows.
Lame.
Ooh, and then he doesn't have another one.
Lame.
That fully deserves the trombone. And then he doesn't have another one until the 29th. And then he's done. He's done with his freshman year. Our children are done with their freshman year of college. Like, honestly, it is like...
I don't like any of that.
That was like a lot of noise
yes,
at once.
because it's really upsetting to me.
Well, no,
like
it's
time
exciting.
has been going by. No,
it's very
it's exciting for them. It's not exciting for me. Like, I don't want this time to go by this fast.
Well, do you feel, and this maybe can be one of our topics of conversation, like, do you feel guilty that maybe you didn't spend enough time with them when they were younger, and so you wish you had more time? Because I don't think that's the case. You were a really involved father. I don't like the passage of time. I just don't like it. So before we get into the serious subjects, can I bring up a couple things that really made me happy today? Yes.
So the last episode, we covered difficult subjects. We covered Jeffrey Epstein and Melania. And
is that a difficult subject or a subject that you take joy in discussing?
I take absolute joy in it. Not joy about what happened with the victims and all that stuff, but joy in the fact that maybe at some point we're going to get some sort of repercussions for all that wrongdoing.
I still don't think so.
And also uncover a lot of the tangled web that was created by all that. So anyway, that's my joy. Plus, it's my rabbit hole that I love to go down. But
facts.
Facts. And so we talked about that, and we talked about the Iran conflict, which, by the way, since we had that conversation, it turns out, surprise to nobody, that the diplomacy or the ability to negotiate some sort of a treaty
didn't go so well.
Yeah, fell on deaf ears. Now, it also seemed like
Are you allowed to say that anymore?
Why is that?
I don't know, but you can't say homeless anymore. You're supposed to say a person experiencing homelessness.
It fell
or
on
the
ears
unhoused.
that couldn't hear. It was sort of interesting because the Islamabad hotel that was hosting it had all kinds of crazy promotion around it. It was almost like it felt a little Trumpian in the way they were touting this incredible peace treaty that was occurring in Islamabad, which I had never really thought of as much of a destination. In fact, maybe that could be one of our next destinations that we go to. Do they have?
Nope. Pass.
Are there lie flat business class seats on Air Pakistan?
Nope. I would rather take Coach, the last seat by the bathroom where it doesn't recline and you're smelling poo-poo the entire flight, then that.
Okay. Well, yes. I
Hard
agree. I would not want
pass.
that. But, I was thinking to myself, like, what if you're the Iranian representatives, the Iranian government officials that are there negotiating this thing, and you come up empty because you're taking a hard line, and then you have to jump on a plane that leaves Pakistan and gets into airspace that's not in Pakistan, let alone it could be in Pakistan. Like, what are the chances that plane mysteriously has a mechanical problem or something in the air?
Well, that was the first episode of Tehran.
Oh, yes, but they didn't crash.
Well,
not
they
to be a
didn't.
spoiler, but they didn't crash.
But it was scary, and we still don't understand exactly how that maintenance issue was strategically put on that plane with specific passengers. I don't know. Hard pass. I think we move on.
Okay, but I was just thinking, like, what are the chances that that plane doesn't get back to Iran? I mean, it seems like, why not? If you're taking out all the government officials throughout the war, why not take out the rest of them on that plane flying back to Iran? It would seem pretty easy. Anyway, they did get back, and I guess now we got the Strait of Hormuz that's
not open,
under a lockdown, and apparently now we're blockading the blockade, and the war is going to continue. And I pray on behalf of, everyone that there's some sort of peaceful resolution somehow that we get to in this thing. And I also pray for our American soldiers, as do you, that they're not put in harm's way. And it's, anyway, the whole thing is balls and strikes, hard to call. So now we go to the more fun subject, because on that podcast, after we talked about the difficult things, we even talked about LA Unified School District is going on strike on Tuesday. Are they still going on strike? Is that still the word?
I think they are.
Okay, so we hit that one. So we did a triple Lundy of sort of tough subjects, and then we ended with talking about company retreat.
So good.
A series where a guy named Anthony Norman was the mark, the only one who did not know that the whole show was fake. Everyone was an actor. They were trying to set up all these crazy scenarios for him to freak out and do things that are very human, almost like the truth serum that alcohol creates. Like, those people that you think are good people, and then suddenly they get drunk and the truth serum turns them into demons that want to get in fights, or they do all kinds of bad stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, now I know who that person is. And they're like, no, I was drunk. And you go, no, I think I know who you are now.
You showed your true colors.
Okay, so Anthony Norman was thrown essentially all the alcohol you could in a symbolic way of saying it,
sure.
Right? And he came out better than any human I've seen, right?
He is such a good human.
We want to adopt. He's way younger than us. So I feel like you could adopt him and be really proud.
26,
25,
27.
whatever he is. He's from Nashville. I don't want to sound creepy about it, but I'm just like, if that was my son, I'd be really proud, just like we are about our kids. But he's a role model.
He's a role model, and he did the right thing. And in every situation, he was kind. He offered wise and sage advice. He listened. It is such a good series. I would watch it again. That's
Apparently,
how much
there's 2
I like
bonus
it.
episodes. One of my Twitter followers was telling me, because I posted our podcast, and also said that there's a bunch of, I think there's 8 other episodes of crew behind the scenes commentary or whatever.
That would be so interesting.
There's 10
because,
extra episodes.
Imagine if you and I are actors in the show, right? And you and I are doing our lines, yet the mark, Anthony, isn't responding. So obviously we have some sort of earpiece, and obviously the crew and the behind the scenes team is feeding us. But you're trying to elicit a certain response. That's part of the show, is to see how this mark is going to respond.
Well,
so that would be interesting to see.
It would be super interesting.
Do we need to move the camera? Do we need to say this? Because based on the psychology test that this mark took as he applied, he's more likely to respond this way as opposed, I don't know.
Well, when you think about doing that show, there were so many things that could have gone wrong.
Oh my God.
And they all went right. No, they all went right in terms of what we saw on camera, but we found out that a lot of things almost didn't go right.
Sure.
So, like,
well, that's life. I mean, do you think you would know how I would respond every single time? I mean, you've been with me for a long time, 26 years. So obviously, I think you probably have a good idea how I might respond in a specific situation or what I might say. Maybe not what I might say, but the tone in which I say it. I think you would, but we've been together 26 years. I mean, this is a character who is hired, and again, we're not giving anything away, but he's hired to be a temp on a company retreat. So he knows nobody. I mean, he is coming in as green as it gets. He doesn't even know the boss's son's name until he meets Dougie.
Well, his Instagram says the only real working person at Rockin' Grandma's Hot Sauce Company.
So good.
So anyway, I guess the feel good thing that I wanted to bring up at the beginning of this is when you do this is a hobby for Jen and I, and we're just sort of messing around with it and having a lot of fun. And it turns out it's sort of taking off and people are listening to it. And then it's like in a bunch of different markets around the world, some countries I really hadn't heard of before. And it gets noticed. And in fact, Anthony Norman, the Mark in Company Retreat, actually DM'd us saying, thanking us for talking about the show and was like really honored by it.
But he was not the only one.
He wasn't the only one. Then we also had a cast member, Wendy Baum, who also responded and was really glowing about it. And then on top of it, was really appreciative. And then she
Wendy Braun, B-R-A-U-N.
Wendy Braun.
Yeah.
And she reminded us that
we know her and we were at her wedding.
How crazy is that?
So crazy.
Yeah, I had a client named Josh Cox who was like literally one of the coolest guys ever. And we used to surf a lot. He was a good buddy, but he was also a client. He was on that show Strong Medicine. And you'd seen him in Mercedes commercial. Like he's everywhere. Like he works all the time. He's just one of those working actors that's ridiculously good looking, sort of like godlike good looking, and
so cool and really,
very
really
cool.
nice.
Very cool. And we went to their wedding and we were thinking, oh, maybe that was like 5 or 6 years ago. No, it was in 2007.
It was right after we had the babies.
So anyway, that was really interesting. So we got reconnected through talking about a show on the podcast. And then finally, Emily Pendergast also DM'd us saying thanks for talking about the show. So
3 people.
Yeah, pretty cool. And actually we had a couple other cast members who just liked it, which was
I didn't
really
know that.
Cool. Yeah,
so remember, I'm private, so I don't know.
Yeah, you're a snob. You're a social media snob.
Is that
like
is
I
that
don't
what
want people following me or knowing about what I do.
Really? Is that what you're going to say?
I don't know. Like, why are you private? What is that about? You do a podcast that's heard in 64 countries. You're not very private anymore.
That is true. But when I first started my Instagram account, I was private and I had younger kids. And I think like the parent in me didn't want my kid's face shown in, the World Wide Web. In case
you
they
post
wanted
their
to,
faces all the time, showing how awesome they are.
No, but only my friends can see that.
Only your friends, but you asked me to repost it or post things about you.
Well, I didn't. I forgot about that.
Yes.
It's all coming together, and now I'm saying, thank God nobody got kidnapped.
Are you private on Facebook too?
Probably.
Really?
Probably.
Huh.
If you get a friend request, does that mean you're private?
I don't know. You're asking very technical questions.
I don't know if it's technical. I feel like we're dating
I think
ourselves.
there's a setting that you would put on your Facebook, but I don't know if you're
Do people
private.
use Facebook anymore?
I thought you told me they do.
Well, no, I'm asking.
I use it when I consciously try to remind myself to go on there every morning to see whose birthday it is.
That is true. You do. You're very good at those texts.
I'm not very good at it.
No, you
but
are.
I try to. I try hard.
But remember, Facebook was the thing.
Yes, it was. Remember, Atari was the thing.
Well,
Remember, 8-tracks were the thing.
Yeah, no, not in my world.
Remember, phones with cords were the thing.
Yes, I had a pink one. And I could wrap it around like my bed, and I could lay on the floor. Or at my parents' house, there was a distinct spot at the counter where like 2 counters met and 2 cabinets met, and it created like this L shape. And I would just wedge myself into that corner. I'd hop my butt onto the counter, and I would just talk on the phone. I had my own telephone line. Did you? That was a birthday present my parents got me.
I never had my own telephone line. Never. It was a phone with a cord that we had a swinging door that separated the dining room from our kitchen. So if I wanted to get privacy talking to somebody, I could pull the cord through one side of the swinging door or the other and talk if my parents were on the other side or whatever it was. So
were you whispering in that whisper voice or were you loud?
I have no idea, but I do remember Allison Smith, who was my first girlfriend. She was she was cool. She was beautiful. She was really nice. If she's listening to this, I think nothing but great things about her. I do remember actually my first kiss with her was at J.W. Gerardo's sixth grade party. It was out by the canal where he had his boat, and Tell Him That It's Human Nature by Michael Jackson was playing.
Wow, you know a lot of details.
I just remember that. But I remember when I talked to her on the phone, you could hear the phone click because her mom would listen to our conversations. Anyway, so
I never did that. Never did that to the kids.
Okay, so speaking of reminiscing, like this idea of time and the passage of time and all this stuff, and I know I wanted to talk about it, and you were like, I don't think it's a good subject, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a little banter thing. But I did send. For some reason I get these retro handle things on Twitter and Instagram that just send me random retro things. So there was one, it said
an image from 1984.
Yeah. So this one I sent you, which was like a multiplex theater where it said it's 1985. Which movie are you watching? And it was literally a multiplex theater, like billboard showing what movies it had on its screens, and there were 7
movie
screens.
Phone, right? Because it didn't have
no,
movie
it was
phone.
Valley Fourplex in 1985. There were 7 screens they had there. On screen number 1 was Weird Science.
Okay.
On screen number 2 was The Goonies.
Oh my gosh.
On 3 it was Cocoon. On 4 it was Mad Max.
Wow.
On 5 it was Back to the Future. On 6 it was The Breakfast Club, and on 7 it was Ghostbusters.
Everything about that title.
I mean,
list,
is there any movie that no one has seen out of those?
No, that screams the 80s. I feel
it's
like
crazy.
there's a song.
Oh my God, I love the 80s.
Every single one of those, there's a scene, there's a one-liner that we could pull out. They are all classics.
Well, and then the other one that was crazy is that there was this. Did you have one of those when you were in?
Yes, I did. It's a paper cutter.
Yes, remember the big wooden paper cutter that was in the corner of your school room, and it had a big like a hatchet. What do you call that? Like a hatchet that was attached to it.
Like a butcher hatchet.
And you opened it up. It was attached to the thing, and then you would close it.
And it had a grid at the bottom, so you could mark and make sure you were cutting in a straight line.
100%.
Were those for projects? Like, what's
yes,
the
no, they were
purpose?
for like cutting cardboard or cutting different poster
okay, wait
board
a minute.
or
Why?
cutting
But if you're doing
multiple papers at the same time.
Hold on. If you're cutting cardboard or, something that's used for a project, presumably you're in a lower grade. And presumably if you're in a lower grade, you should not be using a ginormous knife that could cut off your hand.
That's the thing. And it's like, and the Twitter handle says, it's a miracle my generation's hands are mostly intact, considering every classroom came equipped with one of these finger guillotines.
It's true.
And it's so true. I remember those things. They were so sharp, and they could literally, if you had 50 tests to give the students, you could cut all 50 of them to make it
and
whatever
there's
it was.
A noise that it would make, like whoosh.
Yeah. It was crazy. Anyway, so those must have gotten banned sometime after we were out of elementary school, because I have not seen them in a classroom in a long time.
But TikTok does not?
Well, no, but Eric Swalwell got banned, I guess.
Today,
yes, he did.
He pulled out of the race.
Yes. Well, I've been wanting him out of politics forever before this Me Too movement, because he fell in love with this very hot woman who he thought he was playing above the rim with, and it turned out it was a honeypot operation by China that was trying to get him to give him all kinds of secrets.
And what do you mean by honeypot?
Honeypot means you throw a really hot female spy at a guy, and
is that all it takes? Are you that simple?
have you met men? I mean, yes, like men are pretty simple. I mean, yes, there's men that are faithful to the people that they devote their life to. But like, if you take that out of the equation, men are pretty darn simple.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, to the point where like like we could watch 10 hours of a guy hitting a ball off a tee where you have to whisper when they're on the 8th green while they're putting. Like that's how simple we are. We're like, something's
Best
really
day
hard
ever.
about putting that ball into the hole. Like, it's just weird how guys are. I don't know. And you're not, I think you find it interesting because it's very like, people are wearing clothes that are interesting and there's a lot of grass and flowers and stuff, but you're like, why does anybody watch it?
It's almost like having a fish
because they play
tank.
that nice music around it too.
No, there's something very soothing about it, and like meditative. But golf is not my thing. We had it on because I knew it was a big game, but golf's not my thing. Baseball's not my thing either.
I mean, the Masters is a weird. It's weird how it got so big. It's weird how much controversy there is around the whole, like, the country club and all that stuff over the past history. And I mean, it was controversial when Tiger Woods won. Like, that was like an interesting thing.
Why was it controversial? Was he the first black man to win?
No, he was the first guy to drive up to the first tee and flip over his SUV.
No, that happened, I think, last week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, there were race issues involved with the whole thing. But anyway, like, all that's thankfully in the past, but anyway, it's really fun to watch.
Hey, speaking of Tiger, you know how he's in a rehab? I just read on People and Us Weekly that Britney Spears has voluntarily checked herself into a rehab.
The Britney Spears that's 18 from the Pepsi commercials, or a different one?
That's in your head. The Britney Spears that, I think she needs some help. That poor girl.
Boy, the one from the Pepsi commercial was
No, I get that.
dynamite.
I totally get that, but that is not said Britney anymore.
Okay, well, we are going to wish her well.
We are going to wish her well, just like we're wishing Tiger well.
We're wishing Tiger. Where is Tiger now? Like, apparently this Saturday Night Live, he's in a Switzerland rehab center.
Huh.
But I don't know where he is.
Wait a minute. We never discussed Switzerland, did we? Should we put Switzerland on our travel list?
I have brought it up with you a couple times.
And did I just ignore you?
Yeah. Like, I'd like to go to Stad.
You do want to go skiing in Stad. I don't really want to do a ski trip. Here's the thing with skiing, and I do love skiing. I grew up
I would
skiing.
like to control the Davos crowd.
Okay, hang on. I love skiing. It is, it's a fun activity. It's great exercise. You're outdoors. We taught our kids young. It is time with the family. It's time in nature. There are no mobile devices, no cell phones, no TikToking. It's really just a great time. Here's my issue. Number one, I kind of hate the cold. I have Raynaud's, so my fingers and my toes don't do well with the cold. But besides that, we found ways around it. I have those like electric heated gloves that last me like 2 or 3 hours on the slopes. Fine. The issue is, and this is me, and maybe it's my like mom guilt per se, but when the kids were younger, I would always envision like falling off a chairlift, which I know is really scary, or I don't know, going down a really hard run, not being able to control myself and ending up in the trees and like breaking a leg. And then if I broke the leg, that means I couldn't do carpool, I couldn't cook dinner, I couldn't go to the market, I couldn't work out, and all things would go to hell in a handbasket. So that's why skiing, like there's this innate fear and guilt of like, oh my God, if I go down this run, everything's going to go to shit.
Well, A, we shouldn't be swearing on this PG rated show, number one. But number two is, yeah, I know it is a bummer. It's a bummer to my daughter and I.
But you guys can go together.
Doesn't love skiing as much as we do. Dylan likes it a lot, although he's a bit of a tard on the.
Well, let's not use that word, but he's a little more
You're
of
the
a
one
menace.
that uses the S word on here.
He's a little more of a menace. Like Kaylee's form
Well,
is
he was
so
like that one
perfect.
video, that one like shooting down the moguls.
Yeah,
and,
he
like,
just
out
like
of control.
shoots down, and he's like, his poles are flailing, and you hear him.
But he goes
and
100 miles an hour, and
yeah,
he's
he
sort of
zooms
in
by.
control, and he's like being crazy. But
Well, thank goodness.
he doesn't look like a mono skier like Kaylee
No,
does.
Kaylee just glides effortlessly.
And she hums.
She hums. She's like a Giselle on the mountain. And Dylan
She
just
clangs her boots.
Dylan is just it's a train wreck.
He's a bit of a mess.
I'm gonna acknowledge that.
He
But
is
got,
good.
Again,
he's
got
just
other
a mess.
skills. But so I love skiing for like 2 or 3 hours with the family, but that's kind of where my threshold ends. So
But that's like the Italian version of skiing. We could go to the Dolomites.
well, how do we get there? I mean, I
We
know by
fly
plane.
there. We go to Milan and we drive up wherever, or we go maybe through the Swiss side. I don't know. I have to look at a map to figure out the best places to.
I mean, do you think that would be a good 3-dayer? Because we don't like
no,
anything more.
3 days to ski and everything. You know, I mean, I don't know. We could figure it out. We'll have the
Should we add it to
conversation
the
off
list?
the podcast
Okay,
so
so
that
we're
we can
gonna-
work out some of the kinks.
Okay, so we're gonna
and then
talk
we can
about-
make it entertaining when we talk about it.
Well, so we will put Switzerland on the list. Speaking of Switzerland and being neutral, I have a question for you. Are you neutral when it comes to kids? Our kids are graduating their first year of college. So they're coming back to California for, Dylan for a little bit and Kaylee for the whole summer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's your thought on internship versus just like summer job versus something to build your resume versus make some money? Like, where's your headspace in that? Because
Okay.
there are I think there's two conflicting thoughts that go on, especially in a community like Manhattan Beach, right?
I think I think a couple things. One is you can go back and think about what you did between those summers, right? Which could be completely irrelevant. Then I think over the last, I would say 20 years, there was a rat race where like everybody had to do something that one-upped each other during every summer. There was no summer to waste, right? And then I think now people are realizing like the importance of experiencing things and trying to enjoy like a childhood, just the ability to maybe mess around one summer yet work on like a work job, just a working job, and then maybe going and doing something more important the following years. Now, what I will say is I think I focused on enjoying the experience of trying things. So like if I think about my summers, I had a business between my freshman and sophomore year where we created a business. This guy, Mike Litke, actually was older than me, and he sort of co-led it. We were 60-40 partners, and we were painting houses in my hometown of Glastonbury, Connecticut. The next year, I was like, I'm going to drive down to Florida, and I'm going to work construction in Florida on a development outside of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. It was one of the hottest, most crazy summers. It was incredible, but wow, what a difficult physical job that was, at least until the thunderstorms came in every afternoon at 1:30 in the afternoon. Then my junior and senior year, I actually stayed at Cornell University so I could graduate on time. I had to take 2 classes. I had to take 2 electives. I took statistics, and I took...
That's an elective?
Yeah.
Because that's a requirement for Kaylee. In fact, she's going to do it this summer.
Maybe
over
it was,
summer school.
you know what? Maybe it wasn't a core class that I had to take during... It was a course I had to take at some point during the 4 years. So I took it then, and then I took an English course where that course had a bunch of juniors in high school that were in it, that were looking at Cornell, that were there that summer.
I did that at Brown.
And they were very, very adamant about the fact that you're over 18. Anybody that is in the college that's over 18, and those people that are here for the summers, you cannot date them. You cannot be with them.
Can't
like it was
fraternize.
a very, there were these laws or rules I remember about that.
Yes, there's probably still the same rules that are in place now.
I will say, wasn't going to make a difference like when I looked at what was coming in there then. But
Good or bad?
Yeah, it's just not
The
not
walkout-
my type. Not my type.
Is it what Dylan.
Not my type.
Okay.
I'm just going to say not my type. So anyway, the bottom line is that those were my 3 summers. And then I come out of college, and for almost a year, I ski bummed and worked odd jobs and figured myself out. So I am a terrible case study to ask. Now, I will say there was a period over the 2010s to 2020 where I would have been like, yeah, every kid's got to have like a serious internship during their undergrad summers. Now I think it's a little different.
I do. And I could say, look, you're talking junior, senior year of college. I think that's one thing.
Yes.
We're talking freshman and sophomore year. Now, yep. I mean, Kaylee is working and she's also doing something towards her career. So that we just kind of we lucked out where we've got a twofold, right? She's making money and she's working towards something that she wants to do long term. Dylan, we really lucked out. He got an internship exploring a career path that he's very interested in. Although I don't think either one of us said to the kids, like, you have to get a crazy internship. We want you on Wall Street. We want you making, blah, 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 blah. I think it was really like, come home, great, make some money, have some fun, and, kind of, I think, guide rather than say, you must do this because this is what's required of you. Like, I think that was really, both of our kids happen to get these gigs that will help them down the line in their career. And I think we just got lucky.
I think one of the issues that I have with trying to really push kids into these internships that then tee up what they're going to be doing right after college is it's one thing if they have these internships where they actually get them and they can figure out, is this what I really want to do or not? Right? Like, I get that. The problem is I think a lot of people are pushing kids into these internships saying this is your ticket into that industry and into those entry level jobs after college. You have to do it because this is going to tee up your career. Where I look at it and I go, I had no idea what I wanted to do for a living. Even by the time I came out to LA, I was still clueless. So like, you're talking 22, 23 years old. I still wasn't really sure. So like, why are we expecting our kids to know exactly what they want to do? Now, some kids do.
Yes,
right?
They absolutely do. Some kids do.
And some kids maybe need time to figure it out,
well,
or need internships to try things,
sure.
Right?
I'm not saying sleep until noon and spend your time on
that's
the
not
beach.
A job. That's not what you're going to do for a career. No, if you're not taking one of these important career jobs, you have to work hard because that is a skill set you have to learn. You got to learn, like, even if you're waiting tables, bussing tables, short order cook, lifeguard, whatever it is, you got to know what it is to have a W-2, what it is to work for money that you spend, realize, like, in your head what it takes, how much time does it take you to work in order to buy that cup of coffee at Starbucks or to go out and have that $40 night at whatever bar and tavern it is, right? Or take a girl out on a date that costs $100 and something, right? Like, you need to get that understanding. You need to know what it is to work for somebody. Even if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you still got to know what it is to work for someone.
Absolutely. You're learning skills. It's not to say that those are going to be the skills that you are, in fact, utilizing when you go into the professional world. But I think it's another layer.
Exactly.
That these kids, right? Maybe it's communicating with the boss. It's communicating with the colleague. Not to say our kids can't do that, but I just think there's an art form to it. Or like the follow-up, right? There's an art form to that, understanding the timing, what you say in it. And yes, we help our kids. And, that's actually a really good point. So with our kids, there were a couple times when they're like, okay, well, what do I say? What do I say? And our response to them was, you craft it, you draft it, send it to us. And, we'll make a couple tweaks here and there, but this has to be your email. This has to be your text. We're not writing it for you.
Exactly. No, that's key. And they have to know, they have to start to get good at it without us, even knowing like we can be there. But I will also
I'll be there for them anytime they want. You guys, if you want to move back in, you can. I love you so much.
But the other thing I'll add too is that I see there's a huge benefit. Say if you want to go home and you want to work you got a lifeguard job and you want to like wait tables or whatever to make money, but you want to stay at home, hang out with your friends, all that kind of stuff. I can see that being perfectly fine between freshman and sophomore year. Then say after sophomore year, you go, hey, I want to do the same thing. Well, I would go, okay, we're okay with that, but do it somewhere else, right? Like
Right.
that's sort
Live
of what I
someplace
did
else.
with like Florida. I was like, yeah, I'm not going into construction full time when I have a career, but at least I could, hammer nails in another part of the country and meet people and hang out and understand like different things and see different things and all that stuff. It's very important to get that sort of perspective.
Absolutely the same reason why we wanted our kids to go away for college. Obviously LA and California, there were some schools that we considered, but we were really pushing not for them to leave the nest because we wanted them to, but we wanted them to have that experience, living on their own, living away from home, having to figure things out. Like it sucks when you're sick and you got to go to class and you got to turn an assignment and you got to wash your clothes and you got to figure out how to get the soup and the medicine. And like that's hard if you're living away.
Well, and I find even I'm not going to use names here, but we know somebody who's got a kid going to a school locally here that's playing a sport, and you could say, oh, well, it's staying in town, playing a sport or whatever. No, this summer, going to Switzerland to train with like another team in that sport,
and
right?
work in finance.
Yeah, so
it's like a dual thing. It's crazy.
You can do things that I think are sort of common ground where you're like, oh, okay, maybe that's not exactly following the model of whatever you want to call it, success or whatever. But then if
that's successful.
Right. But you can complement it with other things that create that exploration and all that sort of self-discovery. And then suddenly you realize that's the perfect combo. So like
go work on a fishing boat.
Yeah. Well, I had a fraternity brother that did that. And some of the most incredible stories I've ever heard are from those fishing boats.
Really?
Oh,
is it like seedy?
Like some guys had sea lions for girlfriends.
No,
put it that way.
You are wrong. No, stop
okay,
it.
I'm gonna let's digress from that. But yes, those fishing boats. Now, if you're gonna learn how to do hard work and grind it out, like there's nothing better,
right? Because that's like a 20-hour shift, and you are just manual labor.
No, you're on a boat out at sea
Crazy.
for 6 straight weeks. Like you don't see.
It's like the world's deadliest catch. We used to watch that show.
The world's deadliest catch.
Well,
you're a greenhorn.
You're a greenhorn, but you're not doing crab fishing. I'm guessing they're doing like tuna?
No, you do crab fishing. Some of those kids are crab fishing or salmon fishing or cod fishing or whatever they are. They're out there.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're out there with ex-cons and everything else. I mean, if you want to be a man of the people, you're going to learn it pretty quick that way.
Well, I appreciate the fact that the fishing boat owners are hiring people who would otherwise they would not be able to get a job.
I think they have to get who they can get. Right. And I will say
Look at me, I'm
they
the
probably
rainbow.
would rather get an ex-con than a
kid.
college kid who's going up there thinking that he's up there for adventure. Right. Like the ex-con is like,
I got to work
give
hard.
me some food, give me some money, I'm out of here. You know,
Sure.
and the other kid's like, oh, if I don't like it, I'll just call mom and have her save me.
Have the airplane.
Helicopter in with the Coast Guard and pull me out in with those little buckets. So anyway, I don't know if we hit all the topics we wanted to hit, but we've done a full episode here. So is there anything else you want to talk about to our 64 nations out there?
Thanks for listening.
I mean, this has been quite a fun, fun galloping horse type of. This reminds me of a song that Kaylee played in her orchestra dress when she was in the orchestra. Doesn't it sound like?
It does.
Remember they had that guy hitting the cluck thing or whatever? Anyway, this is Plate and Ponder, Empty Nesting with Jen and Chris Fenton. We want to thank you all for listening. We want to thank Dylan for calling in and interrupting, but we still handled it well. We'll see how that edit turns out. We want to thank Flynn for not eating his poo and for drinking water rather loudly with his collar hitting the water thing.
And thank you to the company Retreat people who liked us.
Oh, yeah. That was super cool. Anyway, until next time, we are Plate and Ponder Empty Nesting.
Bye.
With Jen and Chris Fenton. Please follow, download, engage, enjoy, DM us, and all the other stuff. Till next time, we love you.